One, a Sphinx's Revelation mirror. So if I had the option, I would have not put him on camera again, but I did not have the option.
Not when a match like this is going to present itself.
Yeah, exactly.
So Sidher's going to lead off here with a Temple of Enlightenment. You see Rietzl just plays a Mutavault on turn 1. He's going to fire in here for 2 points of damage. You don't often see Mono Black lead off with a Mutavault, but in this matchup, it might be correct, actually.
And you have to imagine that at this point, Paul knows what matchup he's dealing with. He leads with Mutavault so he can get the swing in. Does not have Thoughtseize to open up, does not have Pack Rat to open up, but gets the attack.
Underworld Connections from Rietzl gets his card drawing engine online, going to force Sidher to have an Attention Sphere right about now, which he did draw off the top of his deck, so that's timely. Going to take care of the Underworld Connections from Rietzl, as Rietzl will untap and take a draw. This matchup, it's pretty long. There's a lot of back and forth. There are some important cards on both sides. I think Connections is probably the most important card in game 1 from Rietzl's deck. Unfortunately, it got taken care of by Sidher.
Yeah, Paul has just 3 Underworld Connections, actually, although he does have 1 main deck Erebos God of the Dead. That's basically functioning as his 4th Underworld Connections. He has the actual 4th Underworld Connections in his board.
You see a Divination and then a Temple of Deceit with a little Scry action, so Sidher's hand is very full. Now, I know you played in PTQ with blue-white control, correct, that you lost with in the finals. How do you feel about this this Black Splash that people are adopting?
I had the Black Splash then. This was late January, I believe. At the time, it was Tamaharo Saito Tech. It has since been adopted by literal everyone, as Tamaharo Saito Tech tends to do.
This is true.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly endorse the Black Splash. Although Ricky's Black Splash is lighter than most.
Well, I've got his deck list in front of me. The Black Splash, it looks like it's just for Doomblade, where I saw, and he's got a Blood Bear in his sideboard as well, but I saw a version Sam Pardee was playing where he's just splashing just for Thoughtseize. So some players are kind of dabbling in what they want to splash for. His Attention Sphere takes care of Nightveil Spectre.
Yeah, Ricky had 0 main deck black cards and just some Doomblades. Well, sorry, not just some Doomblades. Just 4 Doomblades and then some one-of anti-control cards in the form of 1 Notion Thief, 1 Blood Bear.
Yeah, Notion Thief. Hopefully we get to see that in action. I always love to hear a good story with the old Thief. As it looks like Rietzl's getting some for damage here with Mutavault, and now you're going to get Pack Rat. You saw Azorius Charm take care of Mutavault, so Sidher is basically trying to get the cards out of his hand so that when he revs, he's actually just drawing a ton of cards, but not having to discard any. I think that's the key. Just exchanging resources pretty much as fast as he can. Now he's going to play an Elspeth on what is a relatively empty board. My question for you, how do you feel about Elspeth against Mono Black?
It is a fantastic card. It has gotten worse because of Bile Blight, but it used to be the most reliable way to stabilize. It frequently draws Hero's Downfall, but it demands Hero's Downfall. If Paul does not have it, which in fact he does not, then it's going to take over the game. It not only blocks Pack Rats for days, it actually answers Pack Rat ultimately. Looks like Paul can... Oh, okay, I started to say Paul can attack for 4, but he plays that second Mutavault. That lets him actually knock Elspeth out.
It's actually a perfect turn from Paul. He Bioblights the tokens away, plays the Mutavault that was Azorius Charmed, fires up his other Mutavault, going to turn Pack Rat into a 3/3. His Mutavaults are rats, and then Mutavault itself will do the last 2 points of damage, so Rietzl's actually able to take care of that Elspeth without having to really exchange any resources on his end, because Bioblight's not going to play a huge role in this matchup anyway, so using that essentially to take care of Elspeth is a pretty good trade.
Yeah, the tricky part about Elspeth here, again, as I mentioned, Bioblight makes it a lot worse because you don't really give the Mono Black Devotion deck any other targets for Bioblight.
Yeah.
It's just going to sit in their hand until you play Elspeth and make 3 tokens, and then it's going to be very good for a turn.
Sidher's going to go down to 8, playing a Hollow Fountain, passing the turn back. I've played blue-white control a little bit, and I've played against it a lot. And Paul is a 4-time Pro Tour top 8 competitor and a Pro Tour champion. So I think he knows that there's a revelation on the horizon here. For sure. He just wants to be able to get as much damage across as he can right now in the face of that Sphinx's Revelation.
Yeah, now that Revelation is going to... I can't actually see how many lands. I believe it's going to be for 4.
Yeah, it'll be for 4.
Yeah. So Paul has to assume that after Revelation resolves, Ricky is going to have an answer of some kind to these Pack Rats.
So this is a lethal attack right now. You've got the Rat, which is going to be a 4/4. 1 from the Rat itself, 2 from the Mutavaults, and then the 1 from the Rat token, and then Mutavaults are obviously 2/2, so you're going to get an 8-point attack. Once this Revelation resolves and damage is dealt, Sidher's going to stabilize at 4 life.
So Sidher, we know he has an answer to that Pack Rat already in the form of an Attention Sphere. They just drew another one. So he actually, sitting at 4 against 2 Mutavaults, needs to find both an answer to the Pack Rat and a way to not die to those Mutavaults. It looks like he already had that in the form of Elixir of Immortality. The 5 life would keep him alive for at least 1 turn. And he has Azorius Charm as well, so not actually sweating these Mutavaults currently.
Yeah, I think the big problem here is that none of those answers are actually permanent. They're temporary answers, and temporary answers aren't a bad thing right now, but they're not permanent answers, as Ricky's going to play Elixir of Mortality and pass back, sitting at a virtual 9 life and the ability to cast an Azorius Charm this turn as well. I think a card like Sphinx's Revelation is what he needs to actually put the check mark on this game potentially, as Rietzl is obviously going to activate the 2 Mutavaults and get into the red zone here.
You know you've done your job when you have put the Esper Control deck in a position where they just resolved Revelation and now they immediately need another Revelation.
Yeah, that's the goal, especially in game 1 where Rietzl has like a lot. I guess a lot is strong. He definitely has dead cards in his main deck. You know, he's drawn one of those copies of Bile Blight, which thankfully for him exchanged with an Elspeth. But he's got some poor cards that he can draw. And Sidher is again still underneath the gun here in a pretty big way. He's going to sacrifice the Elixir, shuffle his graveyard back, and go up to 7. But he can't be feeling really comfortable right now.
No. Paul is going to draw a Mutavault. Because he can only attack with the one that he has in play this next turn, that's going to give him a window to stick Grey Merchant. So,
yeah, and that'll obviously be pretty useful as Sidher does draw a Plains for the turn. Sidher's hand right now, he's got a Syncopate, he's got that Detention Sphere that we've known about for a while, a couple of lands. The most important card he has right now is Jace, Architect of Thought. How he wants to use it is a little more interesting because he knows that he's staring down Mutavaults.
Yeah, if I'm Ricky here, I think I'm going to uptick the Jace this turn.
Potential for a Hero's Downfall could be a little scary. Now I mean, we know that Paul's card in his hand is a Grey Merchant. I guess he's got the Syncopate to cover Hero's Downfall, so he's okay actually in that situation.
Yeah, he has to worry about the one card in hand. He does not have to worry about the top of Paul's deck this turn. He knows that it's a Mutavault. So he is. It looks like he's going to downtick, though.
All right. Well, we'll see what 3 cards are coming. There's a Divination. That's a Last Breath. That's a Supreme Verdict. I think Last Breath of those 3 cards is the most important.
For sure.
Yep, you see Paul's going to split it that way.
Paul feels the same. And Ricky's going to think about it. Okay.
I'm a little surprised by that. Going to take Divination and going to take Supreme Verdict.
So he knows he is not dead to the Mutavault by any means. He's actually... I think Ricky is assuming that he's going to lose that Jace, and as you mentioned before, he's looking for another Sphinx's Revelation. So I think he maybe is focusing on Divination in an attempt to find it.
I think Ricky was surprisingly okay with losing his Jace in that situation. Now he's considering if he wants to Syncopate Grey Merchant or not. I'm not sure if Syncopate's going to get better. So I think he's okay using it right now just to keep that off of the board. He's seen a Azorius Charm drawn here for Sidher. There's Divination to get him deeper in his deck and looking for, as you mentioned, just Sphinx's Revelation. And it looks like he found one.
Easy game. It would just be a baby rev, a rev for 3 if he used it this turn. But it looks like that's what he's going to do. If he intended to actually wait a turn and then get off the full-blown rev for 6 or 7 or however much it is here, I would expect him to cast the Elixir that turn.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. He may have moved a little bit too quickly here because he's going to take the damage. I thought we might see like an Azorius Charm turn here. I mean, we might just see a baby rev for 3, as you did mention. If he does untap all of his lands and not cast rev this turn, it may have been a mismanagement of resources, as here's a pack rev from Rietzl. But again, we'll see what he wants to do here.
Now, Ricky has the Detention Sphere to answer that pack rat. I think he's going to be eager to play it. So he knows he's going to need 3 mana on his next turn. So yeah, he knows he cannot wait a turn and then get off the full rev. So he's just going to rev for 3 here.
So up to 6 he goes. 3 cards coming. Last Breath among them, which is a very important card right now.
That's going to answer one of those Mutavaults. And at this point, I don't think he is even that stressed about a single Mutavault here. He has Azorius Charm, so he would love for 1 attack to come. Okay, he's going to use Verdict rather than the Detention Sphere, which makes sense. I
actually think I kind of like that just because of Underworld Connections. If Rietzl was to draw 1, they would actually kind of get him back into the game. So Sphere, holding Sphere and actually using it for something has a lot of equity right now.
And he's going to sit on Azorius Charm. And Paul's not for long, though. Paul's going to take a look. He might be able to break that Charm up. Actually, I would assume take the Last Breath.
It's actually a pretty good Thoughtseize right now. Yeah, you know, it's not the best card in the world, but given the situation that Paul's in, he would definitely like the information to be able to take care of one of these cards, because I think if Paul doesn't draw Thoughtseize, he's just going to go fire at Mutavault. One's going to get Charmed, the other one is going to get Last Breath, and then it's a disaster for him.
Absolutely.
So this isn't so bad.
Yeah, he's going to be at least applying pressure, at least getting damage through. He's making kind of negative headway here. He's going to deal 2 damage, but Ricky's going to gain 5 this turn. But past that, those Mutavaults actually, Ricky's out of answers and out of gas. So that's not the worst spot.
I actually kind of like Paul's play that turn too, where he can basically choose between Last Breath or Azorius Charm there. He's choosing Azorius Charm with Thoughtseize so he doesn't get Time Walk.
Sure.
And, you know, he is going to lose the Mutavault to a Last Breath, but he knows that, and now he can kind of carry on accordingly. For Paul right now, he's just kind of trying to hope to fade some draw steps. He doesn't want to see an Elspeth show up. Jace is a little bit scary.
Sure.
Revelation is obviously a nightmare. There is a Jace off the top there for Sidher, so that's going to go down. This is a Watery Grave, an Elspeth, and a Jace. So those cards that I mentioned he doesn't want to see, well, we just saw a bunch of them.
Sure. Yeah, Jace was one he did not want to see because it finds more cards he doesn't want to see. Ricky's going to take the Elspeth. That's going to protect the Jace and itself. So Paul needs to find a solution pretty quickly here. Paul basically, with the Thoughtseize last turn, was choosing, would I rather have a random card than a second Mutavault? Paul said he would rather have a random card. And he now, in the face of this Elspeth, which he knows is coming, he needs that random card to be likely Hero's Downfall here.
Yeah. It's going to have to be a string of cards now, I think, because Jace is going to threaten to draw more cards.
It is the Hero's Downfall.
All right, well, let's play some Magic. Not a bad draw.
Yeah, Hero's Downfall, again, probably his best draw, but not even that good here. It's going to answer the Elspeth. Ricky's still going to have those tokens to defend his Jace. Jace is going to get to work.
Yeah, I think it's a situation where Hero's Downfall is the card that keeps him in the game.
Yeah, for sure.
It's obviously not the card that's going to win him the game, but it's going to keep him in the game, which is very important. And that's an Aetherling. Well.
Okay.
Well, okay. Jace is going to tick up now.
Trading some very effective draw steps.
I see why everyone likes this deck.
Yeah.
Make it look like this. Paul's going to draw a copy of Temple of Silence. He's going to play that. He's going to scry. See what the Pro Tour Amsterdam champion can find.
Now, I said that Hero's Downfall, the card he needed to answer Elspeth. I don't know what he needs to answer Aetherling.
A hope and a prayer,
Yeah.
I think, is what it's going to take. And even that might not be good enough.
Yeah, I don't think it is here. He's strongly considering this top card here. I guess Pack Rat might be, although, well, no, he knows that Ricky has his Attention Sphere in hand, so even that's not going to do it.
So Elixir's going to shuffle and go up to 9. So as Ricky does shuffle his deck here and take his turn, the version that you were playing, that you lost in the finals of the PTQ with, Elixir or no?
I did not have Elixir.
Okay.
Elixir is one of those cards that I can recognize that it is powerful, but it's just not the way I want to play Magic.
Okay. It's very Kunio-esque. I like to try to get my opponent dead. I don't want to put them into submission.
Definitely. I'm a strong proponent of proactivity.
He's going to attack here with Elspeth tokens and Aetherling. Mutavault's going to block and duty. Last Breath says, I don't think so. Paul, you can have 4 more life, but your Mutavault's out of the way. And now we'll see if he's going to get some pumps here, but Sidher's definitely in the driver's seat this game now.
Yeah, it is mostly academic from here.
Looks like we're going to maybe see some pumps with Aetherling. He doesn't need to blink it out, obviously. And the last 2 cards there in Sidher's hand are a Detention Sphere and a Supreme Verdict. So he's got connections covered. He's got a card like Pack Rat covered. Really closing a lot of windows this game is Ricky. I'm not sure what string of draws Paul can have because the closing speed is really good for him right now, too.
Yeah, for sure. Paul could runner, Gray Merchant. I think might do it. Ricky would have a window to Detention Sphere the first one. Okay. All right. That's step 1.
Yeah. You found it.
Sure. Well, to be fair, I don't even know if that's good enough.
Yeah.
I'm spitballing here. That's something that does things. Ricky is at 7, so that you kind of have to start long ranging at this point.
Jace's going to take that. All right.
Hey, it's a revelation.
That door's closed.
Yeah.
All right. Paul's going to pick it up. I actually would have liked to see runner, Gray Merchant,
Sure.
and if that would have done it, but we won't find out now as Ricky Sidher is going to win game number 1 here against Paul Rietzl, Esper Control, up a game against Mono Black Devotion. We're going to turn our attention to the sideboards. You've got Rietzl's in front of you. What do you see there that you like?
Right at the top, I see 4 Duress. I like 4 Duress a lot. That's pretty standard. Paul's going to go up to 8 targeted discard spells, which is huge against the Revelation deck. Paul has, as I mentioned earlier, the 4th Underworld connections. Notably, Paul does not have any Erebos in his sideboard. He has the 1 in the main. Generally, the stock version of Mono Black Devotion has 3 of that card in the board. So Paul has trimmed a little bit there. So in terms of actual targeted kind of anti-control card drawing engine type effects, nothing extra except the 1 Underworld connections. He has 4 Duress, and that may be it. He might choose to bring in the Lifebane zombies, just to replace some otherwise dead removal. But that is actually all I expect to see out of Paul.
On Sidher's side, I'm looking at 4 Doom Blades, 2 Revoke Existence, 2 Gainsay, a Dispel, Negate, an Ocean Thief, a Far and Away, a Blind Obedience, a Faded Retribution, and a Blood Baron. Blood Baron, very easy to bring in. That's a check. Revoke Existence, also a check, and to take care of Erebos and Underworld connections. Then there are some cards that you can kind of debate about a little bit here, like a card like Blind Obedience. You can debate about a card like Faded Retribution. I actually do like Negate. I'm okay with Far and Away. I don't think it's terribly exciting, but I think it's good enough to want to bring in. Ocean Thief have any applications here?
Sort of. I mean, it basically forces Paul to pass the turn if he wants to use his Underworld connections.
Okay.
He cannot use it on this kind of standard mode of operation for mono black is to draw, use your Underworld connections, and then see what you have access to.
Okay.
You don't always do that if you need your mana for whatever reason, but it's kind of cut off Paul's digging power in that sense. He's going to have to use the Underworld connections on Ricky's turn.
Okay.
It also means that he cannot use multiple Underworld connections.
Okay, sure.
So, yeah, Notion Thief, not blank. It's not especially exciting either.
I don't expect Dispel to come in here. Doomblade has like some applications. It's kind of strange to think about Doomblade coming in against a mono black deck, but as we saw in that last game, Mutavault is so good against this style of deck that you can justify maybe leaving a Doomblade or 2 in your deck. But the fact that Sidher does have access to 3 copies of Last Breath, I mean, he doesn't really need to go to that extreme, I don't think.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
Other than that, I mean, his options are actually pretty good here. I mean, one of the ways that Mono Black really wins after sideboard is, you know, obviously 1 via discard, but 2 their card drawing engines, be it Underworld Connections or Erebos. And with 2 Revoke Existences and then 4 Detention Spheres, Sidher's got those pretty well covered.
He does, yeah. I like Sidher's positioning a lot. He does not have, honestly, very many dead cards to begin with. And he's going to get a chance to replace, presumably, the 2 Azorius Charms. I'm not sure about Elixir. As we just mentioned before, I didn't play it. I don't like it, naturally, but I don't think it fits in this matchup. I think it's safe to cut.
Okay.
And it's going to give him some wiggle room to fit in those whammies, like Blood Baron.
Okay. Well, we'll see how he opts to go here as we're going to start game number 2 here shortly. But if you guys are just joining us, Cedric Phillips, Andrew Shrout, here in the booth. Star City Games Open Series is in Los Angeles 1 week before our first invitational of the year in Charlotte, where obviously you'll be joining us along with Nick Miller, Patrick Sullivan, Osa Blebedovich, and the rest of the Star City Games Live crew. I know it'll be your first invitational on the other side of things. I know that hurts, man.
It does.
I know you like to do battle, but on the other side, it's not so bad either.
That is true. Yeah, I'm simultaneously very excited to cover my first invitational and a little disappointed not to be in there brawling.
I understand. I try to get in 1 invitational a year, but I don't think it's actually going to happen this year just because, you know, what we're doing with the Players' Championship and everything like that. My duties are in the booth, man. I want to call some fun matches. This one, obviously, in front of us is quite a good one, as Rietzl's going to start off again with a Mutavault. Sidher going to play a Temple of Enlightenment. Both players keeping their 7 cards, so we'll see how this game goes. Paul draws a copy of Pack Rat, and he's got multiples in his hand. How do you feel about Pack Rat against Esper?
Pack Rat is almost at its worst against Esper because Esper has a lot of answers. It's Detention Sphere and Supreme Verdict and Last Breath, as we see. That doesn't mean it's bad, actually. It's at its worst in this matchup, and it's probably at its worst within this matchup on turn 2.
Okay.
Where you really want it is after you have dissected their hand with Duresses and Thoughtseizes. If you can, in a sense, miracle Pack Rat, then Pack Rat can quickly get out of hand.
Okay, gotcha. Well, we have a second one here. As you did mention, Sidher has plenty of answers to the cards. He's got Last Breath, Detention Sphere, Supreme Verdict, all that good stuff. So shoving in on a Pack Rat is not the plan here. But Rietzl can use it to basically, I always find it when I'm watching coverage and watching matches, they use it as kind of like a lava spike. Or maybe, you know, if they're able to get like 6 points of damage with it, it's like, okay, I'm whittling away a little bit here. Then I can chip away a little bit more with Mutavaults and things of that nature. And then that's basically like a win in that situation. You see, Paul's going to play a Swamp Fire up these Mutavaults. Now you've got a 3/3 Pack Rat and 2/2 Mutavaults. So he says activate this one, activate that one. See if Sidher has a response. Now he's going to get in.
Yeah, Paul is going to opt not to activate the Pack Rat to make a copy this turn. I suspect he kind of has to assume that Ricky's going to have a sorcery speed answer on his next turn.
Yeah, almost assuredly. Or he can just keep doing what he just did and finally force an answer. Now, Sidher does have a Supreme Verdict in his hand. And I'm sure he's not thrilled about trading Supreme Verdict for a Pack Rat, but given Paul's draw here with the 2 Mutavaults and the Pack Rat itself, he may be forcing his hand in this situation.
Yeah, Paul, as you mentioned, if he just does that the next turn and the turn after that, Ricky's dead. That's a 3-turn clock on it as its own. Or it's a 3/3 Pack Rat and 2 Mutavaults. And so Ricky, I think, knows he has to do it. He wants to get that Jace in play.
Yeah, I mean, if you play that Jace, you're probably, I mean, what's going to end up happening, because that's an attack for 7, so Paul can make, I mean, I guess it'll be attack for 4 towards the Jace.
It'd be a 2/1/1 Mutavaults and a 2/2 pack rat.
Yeah. And also on the flip side of things, you know, Paul could just simply go, you know, heroes to play a land, heroes downfall bad.
Get in for 4.
Yeah, get in for 4.
Yeah, that'd be the worst case scenario here, I think.
See Paul's hand right now. He has a Desecration Demon. Looks like a bevy of lands. He's not really drawing much discard at all.
The only spells here look like a, is it a Bile-Blight and a Desecration Demon?
I think it's a pack rat. I'm going to assume that he's boarded Bile-Blights out.
I'm not actually sure about that. He has Ultimate Price, Devour Flesh, Bile-Blight, and Hero's Downfall. So actually, I guess not that many dead removal spells. You do want to actually keep some of them in against Mutavault and Elspeth.
Okay.
It's not a card you want a ton of. I could see keeping 1 or 2.
Rietzl's going to survey his position here now.
Yeah.
Really going to try to craft a game plan, figure out how he wants to go about dealing with this Jace. Do I want to knock it down to 1? Do I want to play a land, activate my pack rat? He's got a temple in his hand right now that can provide him a little more information. He's going to play a pack rat. Okay. He's going to activate Mutavault. He's going to play a swamp. He's going to activate the other Mutavault, so this should be enough to get it off the table, right? Because you've got an attack here from this pack rat is a 1, 2, 3. That's a 4. And then Mutavault is a 2.
So that's
going to go down to 1?
Doesn't look like enough. It's a 4/4, yeah, 3/4 pack rat and 1/2 Mutavault.
Okay. Wonder if that's a misstep by Rietzl.
It feels like it is, actually. Yeah. Because he could have done the same amount of damage to Jace by simply activating both his Mutavaults.
Yeah, and then now he's out of pack rat, so it may have been a misstep there. As here is a temple. Top card's going to go to the bottom, pass the turn back. Now, he can't obviously finish off Jace with those 2 Mutavaults, but that's probably just his whole turn. Here's a temple.
His alternative is just his Slam Desecration Demon here, and I don't feel like that does much. So.
Yeah, me either. And so now we're going to fire at Mutavaults. In we go. There goes Jace. So he's finally gotten that off the table. Sidher going to quickly draw a card here.
You know, these Mutavaults, secretly the key to this matchup. Other than unless you can get some kind of card drawing engine unchecked, then you've really got to just nickel and dime them with Mutavaults. That's what Paul is looking to do here.
Divination draws 2 cards. He's into another Divination. Sidher has not played a land yet this turn. He's got plenty of them in the grip. Looks like he's going to play Temple of Enlightenment. Take a look.
Has the option of double Divination this turn. I believe that would put him over 7, so he's going to slow roll that a little.
See him really giving some thought here to this try. He's going to leave that on top. Never a great feeling if you're the other player. Rietzl's going to draw a card for the turn. Again, he's drawn a lot of lands and not much discard. He looks like he picked up a Thoughtseize this turn, so he's going to fire that off.
First discard spell of the game. Again, Paul likely has all 8, almost certainly all 8 after boards. So
this is a good time to draw one because Revelation was in Sidher's hand. Now, we don't know the top card of his deck, but given what we can see out there in his hand of Divination and 3 lands, all right, he's doing okay, is Rietzl. I'm not sure what that top card is. I wouldn't be surprised if it was another Rev, but that's a step in the right direction.
For sure. Yeah, another Rev, maybe something like an Elspeth or a Blood Baron. If it's not another Rev, it would be something slammable here, you know? Just something to really kind of put the screws to Paul.
Mutavaults are going to trade, and now here's a Desecration Demon.
Yeah, Ricky has plenty of lands to spare. Oh, okay. It's a verdict.
A little surprised by that. That's not one of the cards I'd expect to be on top right there.
That is odd. Ricky had the card draw already in hand, so he maybe is just thinking, well, I need to... Paul is going to present a threat at some point. I would like to have the answer already there.
So here's an attack for 2, and Rietzl draws a copy of Nightveil Spectre. As you mentioned, Mutavault's just going to keep chipping away. That's what it does in this matchup. It is the secret, as you put it, in this game. Sidher draws a card for the turn. That's a Divination. He needs to find something that's going to be useful.
Has to answer this Nightveil Spectre. If you're going to chip away with something, Nightveil Spectre, one of the better cards to chip away with.
It looks like Sidher has another Divination in hand, so he's going to tap out. So Nightveil Spectre's going to get a hit. 1, 2. Supreme Verdict. Sidher's hand right now is 5 lands and a Supreme Verdict.
One of those 7 remaining discard spells would be huge for Paul here.
Let's see what Rietzl draws for the turn. That's a Gray Merchant. That's not so bad either.
No, it's not.
Fire Mutavault, get in here for 4. This attack's going to put Sidher down to 7.
And Paul does have the land in hand. He will be able to cast that Gray Merchant.
Hitting a D-Sphere is actually pretty good there.
Definitely.
Gray Merchant is going to put Sidher down to 2, and now Sidher's in a rock and a hard place. He's got to deal with the creatures that are on the table and the Mutavault that's back. Now, we know he has the answer with Supreme Verdict. I think he just drew a Last Breath.
Last
Oh,
Breath
baby,
well.
and a Mutavault, too. Oh, boy. All right, so Supreme Verdict going to be a 2-for-1.
So Paul, out of gas, smells blood with that Mutavault, but Ricky actually has the method of staying alive on board.
Yeah. There's another one. That's a big draw.
It is.
He was out of gas. He is no longer. Going to pay 1. Going to go down to 26 to draw a card. Let's see what he finds.
Nothing. Oh, a discard spell.
Yeah, that's a duress. Will Sidher fire up his Mutavault and Last Breath it? He will not. Just 3 lands.
Yeah, I think he knows that that Mutavault that he has in play is, for the time being, holding off Paul's.
Yeah, I wonder if Paul attacks her and trades Mutavaults. Because if he doesn't, that seems like to me that he has a removal spell in his deck to be able to kill Mutavault.
Well, he definitely has the downfall still.
Yeah, okay.
And actually, as each turn goes by that he manages to use the Underworld Connections, he's going to present more threats. So just having like an extra ground pounder in play. Aetherling, pretty good at stabilizing, but mana intensive and probably not going to start attacking anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, Aetherling is obviously really scary. It's not the scariest it's ever been right now, but it can close the game out really fast, which is the scary part here for Rietzl, because you were sitting pretty, and a lot of the cards that Sidher could draw in that situation weren't that good. You know, Rev is obviously the best one. I think Elspeth is really actually kind of slow at closing the game out, but Aetherling really doesn't mess around very much. It's probably going to be a 3-shotter to get the game done because, you know, you count in the Underworld Connections activation, so.
Sure. Now, in order to be a 3-shotter, Ricky would need to actually go the full-blown 8-1s 2 turns in a row at least.
Yeah.
And he also needs the mana to flicker it on his own turn, and at least 1 mana to protect it. So that's going to be a huge commitment for him to actually be attacking for 8 each turn.
He's got to commit some more mana here now too, because your intention's here to take care of that Underworld Connections. He will play a Hallowed Fountain. We'll see what kind of attack Sidher wants to make with Aetherling this turn.
Yeah, I would expect Ricky to make a slightly more conservative attack here, probably just for the 4.
Oh, no? Somebody's getting aggressive.
I like it.
He's going to go reaching. You got a Mutavault. Is Paul immediately going on chump blocking?
That is odd to me.
I mean, it basically plays the role of a walk, like a time walk. If he does that, he's chumping really early.
Sure. Is he just playing to Grey Merchant or no here?
It's kind of what it feels like. Okay, so this is going to be unblockable. It's going to be attack here for 4.
Okay. Maybe he might actually be thinking it's a free roll. I can just get Ricky to spend an extra mana.
Okay.
Although it is not a free roll by any means. That exposes the Mutavault to sorcery speed removal.
This is 3 mana. This is a Lifebane zombie.
Shows the 1 card is a semi-useless land.
Now, Lifebane zombie has Intimidate, so that means that Mutavault can't get in front of it, correct?
I believe so,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, that is what that means.
I always get kind of tripped up by that interaction.
Yeah, Mutavault's not an artifact creature, even though it is colorless. So Ricky needs an answer, a proper answer to Lifebane Zombie.
Well, step 1's a Jace.
Okay. So we're going to go digging.
All right, Mr. Architect of Thought, what do you have for Ricky Sidher? 1,
That won't
2,
do. That won't do.
3, that will do.
Yeah.
So Supreme Verdict will go to the grip. The 3rd card is the best. Revoke Existence and Hallowed Fountain are going to go to the bottom. Now, Sidher obviously has enough mana to be able to... He's going to play Hallowed Fountain tapped. He has enough mana to be able to attack, blink. Yeah, attack, blink, cast Verdict.
Leave 1 mana up. That's going to expose him to removal. He was already fairly exposed to removal for what it's worth.
Here's an attack. In this situation, Paul has no reason to activate Mutavault like he did last turn, because Mutavault can actually get the job done here. All right, so Sidher comes across for 4. Going to put Rietzl down to 17. Well, make sure you blink that Aetherling first, Ricky. There we go.
Not something that Ricky is likely to forget this late in the tournament. But
so now Hero's Downfall will get it done, correct?
yes, Downfall will do it. Temple won't.
Temple will not. All right, so there's a scry. Paul Rietzl.
Yeah,
He's in some trouble.
Ricky needed to fade that draw step in a pretty big way, but now that he has, I like Ricky's spot here.
I do too.
He has that Jace. So a Jace uptick here will actually keep him alive even if Mutavault gets through. So something like Downfall would answer the Jace, but it would not actually kill Ricky here.
I feel like Hero's Downfall is kind of in the fog role now.
Yeah.
Of just of basically time walking the Aetherling attack, as Rietzl's really giving a long look at the top card of his deck.
Yeah. I think Paul is in Grey Merchant or Bust mode here.
Yeah,
but
I'm with you.
I suspect he has not found a Grey Merchant, but
That card's going to the bottom.
He probably found a good one just the same, and had to really consider whether it was worth drawing a non-Grey Merchant.
Time to cast Jace in. Faded Retribution, Elspeth, Jace.
Those are nice spells.
Yes, they are.
Those are power. some powerful things.
Okay, so how do you split here if you're playing just to use Grey Merchant to win the game? You probably have to split Faded Retribution versus, right?
Actually, that will solve it. You really would prefer if Ricky didn't hit that Jace either. I think there's a consideration of putting Jace by itself. The Retribution actually breaks up your Grey Merchant plan, but that's not completely obvious.
Yeah.
I might have actually considered just putting Jace by itself and assuming that act alone would cause Ricky to take the Jace.
Sure.
But that's kind of a bold statement against a player of Ricky's caliber.
So Sidher's going to activate Mutavault and get into the red zone with that and Aetherling. And the card that he has in his hand, other than the two that were revealed from the Jace, is an Azorius Charm.
Yeah.
Which gets to use Secret Mode. The mode that's not used very often.
Is he actually going to use Secret Mode? Or
I have a feeling he's going to use Secret Mode here.
Yeah, I think he's considering Secret Mode. Secret Mode, of course, the life gain
mode.
Life gain would gain him a potential 10 here.
Yeah, so Aetherling's going to go unblockable. Assuming that Sidher wants to use the if creatures get lifelink, then I think he's going to actually put the game out of range.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Paul would have some draws to get back in it in the sense. Actually, again, runner, Grey Merchant.
Yep.
He could. He does not have an actual answer to Aetherling in the long-term sense in his deck. So yeah, he's got to race Aetherling.
There's the pumps. I think we're going to see lifelink the way that he's cast the spell, because he could have said, okay, I'll put your Mutavault on top of your deck and time walk you, but it looks like this is a lifelink. Yeah, these two things are going to trade. Sidher's going to gain a bunch of life. Rietzl's going to go down to 9. He's going to get 2 draw steps, but he's yeah,
he's in a rough spot.
Yeah, and he draws Swamps and is going to concede the game. Ricky Sidher going to win this match over Paul Rietzl, 2-0. Esper Control moves on to 8-1. Paul Rietzl picks up his second loss on the weekend, which was presumably a win and in.